Hi everyone, Jen Cushman here, Director of Education for ICE Resin. I have got a lot of great techniques to get you going. They are basic ICE Resin techniques. You're going to love them, so stay tuned. Let's get to work. So now I want to show you another really great technique for all you paper crafters, card makers, scrapbookers, anybody who loves to have paper and use paper and incorporate it in your paper crafting. This is an amazing technique, making resin paper. We also use resin paper in our mixed media jewelry as well, but what I want to show you today is how to make resin paper. So I have everything I need here to make resin paper. I need ICE resin, I need the Ranger archival ink, I've got stamps, I've got some vintage paper, I've got some paper from the Susan Leonard Casimir ephemera pack, and I've got some tissue paper that I have already stamped the Dilutions clear stamps using the archival ink onto the tissue paper. So let's get started and let me show you how to make resin paper. You are going to want to make sure you have gloves on, latex gloves, protective gloves for your hands. And you are going to want to have various types of paper on hand. This is also a great way to use up your leftover resin after you've poured bezels. If you have a little bit left and you don't have any more bezels to fill, you can just grab a piece of scrap paper and use the last of your resin on it and be able to get every last bit of it out of your cup. So just keep that tip in mind. So anyway, so this is a piece of vintage paper I have. It's vintage sheet music, and I have not sealed this paper. I want to show you the difference between sealing, unsealed paper, and sealed paper. This is our ephemera pack. This is paper that I have, and I have actually used the paper sealant on it, front, back, and sides. I did that because I want this to remain color fast. I like these blues and these greens, and I want that bright pop of color. If I were to not seal this paper and I were to put the resin on it, it would deepen the color and it would get a more vintage look to it, which is really a lovely technique and a lovely effect. But this is sealed paper and this is unsealed paper. So what you want to do is you want to dip a piece of sponge into your already mixed up ice resin, and you want to just start painting it on your paper. I like to work quickly because if you work slowly, then what happens is a lot of that resin gets into your craft sponge and it doesn't get on your paper, and you want it on your paper. So I'm going ahead and I'm doing front and back. Oops, it's ripping there, but it's just because it's down so tight. Okay, and I'm going to turn it over. And you can see that because this is unsealed, that paper instantly went very yellow and vintagey looking. It brought out the actual color of the paper, and that's what it is. It's not the resin that's yellow, it's the actual unsealed vintage paper that went yellow. Now I want to do the same technique, but I want to do it onto my sealed paper. Taking the resin, brushing it on quickly, just painting it on almost as if I were cleaning up, scrubbing a piece of paper, but really all I'm doing is I'm just adding the resin to it. Now you can see the difference because because now that I had the sealant on this one, you can tell that that didn't deepen up as much. It actually stayed really lovely. So remember that resin loves paper. It goes together like peanut butter and chocolate. The resin wicks into those paper fibers and it just loves to get in there. And it actually will change the nature of the paper. And once the resin is fully made into resin paper, your paper becomes waterproof. You could actually roll it up and stick it in some water and it wouldn't seep in. So that's what it is. And so that's where it is, where it's unsealed, and this is where it is sealed. So remember, if you want the nice bright colors, you want it to look exactly as it is, you must seal. If you want a vintage time-worn look, then you don't have to seal. Now the last thing I want to show you is tissue paper. Tissue paper is absolutely gorgeous because it goes completely transparent. If you stamp an image on it and then you put resin on top of this, you're going to see how much the image pops. I'm going to put my piece of tissue paper down. I'm going to grab some of my resin and I'm going to put this on, and you will see that it will quickly and immediately go translucent. It also takes delicate tissue paper and strengthens it and makes it much stronger. So even though you can see I haven't done the back of that yet, I've just done the front and it's already going translucent. I'll go ahead and turn this piece of paper around and do front and back. You can leave it on that side. I just tend to do the front and the back and then flip it over. But you can see how completely transparent that goes already. So now what you want to do after you make your resin paper, you just want to set it aside. It will take 6 to 8 hours for it to dry to the touch. And then once it is dry to the touch, you'll be able to peel it off of the studio sheet. Make sure that you always do your resin paper on a studio sheet. This is an amazing thing to have in your studio. Nothing sticks to it. The resin does not stick to it. When this completely dries, you'll be able to come back and you'll be able to completely peel off this paper and you're going to have resin paper. So that's it. Is your mind spinning yet? The possibilities for this are endless. Once it's dry, you can punch it. You can run it through a Cricut machine. You can die cut it. You can ink it. You can paint on top of it. You can draw on top of it. You can use it in every way that you normally would, but it just has that extra pop. And I promise you, when you use resin paper as embellishments in your paper arts, your cards, and your scrapbooks, people look at it and they wonder what it is. Very cool technique, making resin paper, ice resin, gloves, craft sheet. That's all you need. I hope you try it and you have a really great time. Thanks, and I'll check you out in the very next video.